Hello everyone, welcome to the Legal Critic. In today's video, we'll be talking about the faulty nature of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As we all know, the Constitution is the fundamental basis upon which every laws are being made in Nigeria. A constitution of a society gives that society the legality to carry on its activities. Without a constitution, both the federal or the state, the executive, judiciary, or even the legislative arm cannot operate. The constitution is the law which other laws derive their legality from. Now, since it is the foundation, and in law we call it the ground norm, foundations are usually meant to be strong. They are usually built to be absolute and completely free from any fault or defect. The reason is because these are the structures that are meant to be on the foundation. The foundation has to be strong enough to carry those structures. The Constitution is one of the most compromising laws we have in Nigeria. The reason for this is because the provisions of the Constitution are filled with selfishness, nepotism, and they lack open-mindedness. In today's video, I'll be giving my reasons why I think the Constitution is a compromising law and thus needs to be amended. Welcome to today's episode of the Legal Critic. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on your notification post so that you'll be the first to know whenever I make a post. Okay guys, before I go ahead to start saying my reasons why I think the Constitution is faulty and thus should be amended, I need to take us down the line, the history of our beloved Nigerian Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution started in the year 1922. This was the first constitution created in Nigeria, but this was made by the then governor, who was a British governor. His name is Sir Hugh Clifford, and he named the constitution after his name. The constitution is called the Clifford Constitution of 1922. One of the important features of the Clifford Constitution was that it introduced the elective principle. What this means is that it allowed Nigerians to elect themselves into the Legislative Council. Another striking importance or benefit of the Clifford Constitution was that it introduced newspaper publication in Nigeria. It was as a result of the Clifford Constitution that newspaper publication became existent in Nigeria. After the Clifford Constitution, we have the Richard Constitution of 1946. The Richard Constitution of 1946, started by the then governor Bernard Babylon, however, was implemented by his successor Arthur Richard, hence the name Richard Constitution. One of the striking importance or features of the Richard Constitution is that it splitted Nigeria into three regions, which are the North, the East, and the West. That's where we got the ethnic group, which is three. That's the Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba. So this constitution splitted Nigeria into three regions. Shortly after the Richard Constitution, we have the Macpherson Constitution of 1951. The Macpherson Constitution was a really great step in the history of Nigerian politics. This is because Governor Macpherson, though a British governor, involved Nigerians in the policy making of their country. Governor Macpherson went as far as consulting the villagers in order to know their needs and wants, and also involving them in the amendment of the Constitution. This led to the Ibadan Conference of 1950. So this was a great turnout as Nigerians became involved in the amendment of the Constitution. Shortly after the Macpherson Constitution, we have the Littleton Constitution of 1956. Considering that the independence of Nigeria was really very close, the Littleton Constitution also made some reforms and some features. One of the importance of the Littleton Constitution of 1956 was that it introduced the Federal House of Representatives. Another striking feature was that it introduced the division of powers between the regions and the states. Regions in this sense is the state government, while the central is the federal government. So the Leyton Constitution of 1956 created decentralization of powers between the federal and the state governments. Now, 4 years later, Nigeria gained its independence. Hence, there was a need to create another constitution that would fully involve Nigerians as a sovereign state. The independence of Nigeria bettered the independent constitution of 1960. One of the features or advantage of the independent constitution of 1960 was that it created a parliamentary system of government, which is a kind of system of government whereby the head of state was different from the head of government. It also stipulated some provisions in the constitution as per the definition of citizens, the duties and obligations of citizens. Hence, all the citizens' criteria were made and established in the constitution. One other striking features of the independent constitution was that the judges, both the Supreme Court and the High Court judges, were appointed by the president or the head of state on the advice of the then Judicial Service Commission. Shortly after the independent constitution, Nigeria had her Republican Constitution of 1963. Then the independence of Nigeria was fully manifested. This is because the British government ceased to have any entanglement with Nigeria with respect to our government and our policies. The Republican Constitution made the independence of Nigeria fully manifested, and Nigerians were fully involved in policy making in the country. Shortly after the Republican Constitution in 1963, Nigeria had her civil war, which was also called the Biafran War. Now, when the Biafran War ended, there was a need to recreate a new constitution. So this bettered the Second Republican Constitution of 1979. The Second Republican Constitution of 1979 created a 49-member Constitutional Drafting Committee. One of the importance of the 1979 Constitution was that first, it rejected the parliamentary system of government, which was operative since the 1960 Constitution, and introduced the presidential system of government. Here, the powers of the government were just too elaborate, as the government was both the head of state and the head of government. I think this is the foundation of executive lawlessness in Nigeria. As the year goes by, there were need to review and amend this 1979 Constitution. Hence, in 1989, the Constitution was amended, and another amendment was made in 1999. It may interest you to know that the 1989 Constitution and the 1999 Constitution also has the same features of the 1979 Constitution, as just one or two provisions were added, but they were like 80 to 100% of the 1979 Constitution. Hence, even though the 1999 Constitution was amended in 2010, the features is still that of the 1999 and vis-a-vis that of the 1979. So technically, we can say that the Constitution we have today is still the same as that of the 1979, just a little amendment that has been done to it. In criticizing or analyzing the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I will start by saying that the Constitution is not an open-minded one. The Constitution is filled, or its provisions are filled with selfishness on the side of the lawmakers. The Constitution has numerous chapters. However, in today's video, I will concentrate more on Chapter 1 of the Constitution. Now, Chapter 1 provides for the power of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and this power has been divided into the three arms of government, which is the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. Now, for someone to have a power to do something, that person has an authority or an enabling power to do or to act in a certain way. Now, the legislatures or the executive, the government in general, derive their powers from this Constitution. Now, if we look at the executive powers of government, the executive powers of government is headed or vested in the president. And this president derives his power from the people through an election. We also look at the legislative arm of government. The legislative arm of government, the power in the legislative arm of government is vested in the Senate or the House of Rep. However, they derive their power from the people through election. Now, the judiciary, the judiciary or the judicial arm of government derives its power from the court system, and now which are headed by the justice of the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeal and the judges at the High Court. Now, this head of court derives their power not directly from the people, but appointed by the president. In my opinion, I think this is the foundation of the faultiness in the Constitution. Considering that power intoxicates, and I think the power vested in the president is too much. Though you might say that the powers are being given by the president, though it's being recommended by the NJC. But mind you, even though it is being recommended, it's the president that has the enabling power to appoint. So there will be prone to abuse of such powers. And I think this is the basis of executive lawlessness in Nigeria. I think the Constitution has to be amended where the heads of court should be elected. I understand the jurisprudence behind not letting judges to run an election so that they can be isolated from political pressures when deciding cases. But what about the worst pressure, which is the pressure from the appointees? The appointment method has failed our legal system and judicial system in this country. It is time to try the electoral method. This will awaken responsibilities on the people and even on the minds of the judge. Let me know what you think, guys. Please make your opinions in the comment section. Thank you very much. See you on my next video.